Welcome to the Sunday Symposium. We're still here. Presented by Native Roots Radio Network. This is a native conversation of where we've been and where we're going.
Hochankraja, Wakunjahare, Hingadena. Welcome, my friends and relatives, to another edition of We're Still Here. And I am so excited to have you all here tonight. And looks like we're getting a lot of people watching right now. We're here with a lot of great warriors, and I'm here also with Bob Blake. So there's not just all you great women warriors here. I got some, exact. Thank you. A little humor there. So thank you so much, Peeny Gigi. You know, and I think it's really important just to get going. And I really would love Winona to start us off and what's happening, what she's doing in a good way. Welcome, Winona LaDuke.
So, Anin Indoy Maganaduk. Hello, my relatives. I'm, glad to see you all tonight, and the newly elected and the members of our state government, and and city councils that are on this call tonight, and also Bob Blake, man. He's a revolutionary solar guy, and he's doing the just transition, and everybody should be looking at what they're doing up there at Red Lake, because that's leadership right there, making the solar economy, because one thing is for sure, the sun's going to be here, so I'm just so proud to be here tonight. Just a little update. I know I look like kind of grainy, but look, I'm on the banks of the Mississippi River. I'm a water protector. I'm in the 1855 treaty area, and I'm here to pray with my water and pray with our river here. It's a full moon, and this is a time when we're with our water. And, I just want to say that the governor has done a really bad thing for the people of Minnesota and for the water by approving the permits at the MPCA and the Department of Natural Resources, for this pipeline. Doing that, the DNR is going to pay itself about $2.6 million for the killing of endangered species. They're going to move, seems like a huge amount, 600 million gallons of water, all kind of crazy things that shouldn't happen. Reason I'm saying this is that there's something called the public trust doctrine, and sovereigns do that to protect water. So interestingly enough, our governor, he went and he approved the pipeline, and then the next day, Governor Whitmer of Michigan, she withdrew the permits for Enbridge's aging pipeline to cross the Straits of Mackinac, saying that the public trust doctrine required her to act in the interest of the people of Michigan and in the state and of the waters that Michigan was entrusted to care for. Public trust doctrine. So I'm here as a member of the public to uphold the public trust doctrine, because I believe that the public trust doctrine must be upheld, and that the public trust doctrine should not be sold to Canadian multinational corporations. So I'm here and I'm asking people to join in protection of the public trust, because that's what our responsibility is. It's like intergenerational responsibility. So tonight, I'm a little tired because I was in Gi Wigwamake, man. We were making a wigwam, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Our traditional cultural practices are beautiful, and happy to be in Anishinaabe and happy to be here on our great Mississippi. That's our river. Anyway, nice to be here with y'all tonight. Just want to say that update.
Oh, Pinagigi, thank you for being here as always, Winona. I'd really love to get together here with Mary Kunesh, who's a state Senate elector, and she has a great updates on Native Roots Radio, but we had a rebroadcast, so I'd love to have a update of what's happening on your end of the spectrum, and I don't know if we can say it, but you'll be retiring from teaching soon, so I don't know, that's exciting. You're muted, Mary, and I love saying that every week.
Thanks, Robert. How Matakiapi, State Representative Mary Kunesh, and Senator-elect. Yes, I usually pre-record a little message or some information about what's going on at the legislature for Robert for his Saturday show, but I didn't have to do one this. I was on vacation this weekend, but the legislature is not in session right now, but I know there are plenty of legislators, both in the Senate and the House, that are getting ready, getting their bills and getting their platforms ready for this next session. We start in January, beginning of January. And so there are some of us who will be changing offices. I'll be moving from the SOB, the State Office Building, to the MSB, the Minnesota Senate Building, as I move over to the Senate. But newbies like Heather and others will now be relocating and moving into their new offices. All of us getting ready for what's to come this next session. What's to come, I'm sure we will be looking at healthcare issues, especially around COVID. Education is going to be really a top discussion because we have to figure out how we're going to get through the rest of this school year and then prepare for the next couple of school years. We know that our students are going to be behind the norm, and somehow we're going to have to find a way to accommodate that. And as a teacher myself for the last 25 years, and I've sat on the education policy and education finance committees in the House, I'm really hoping that I get onto one of the committees where we'll be discussing this issue around education, and not just like elementary, middle school, high school, but higher ed, because kids that have been taking classes online or find that they aren't able to through their colleges are really struggling. Early childhood programs, those either have kind of been non-existent or are really struggling themselves. And then, just how we're going to figure out how to take care of our environment and these climate issues, as well as, I'm sure Enbridge and this pipeline will be a huge, huge issue. Could easily divide our legislators because there are some that are 100% for it, and there are folks like myself that are 100% not in support of it. And so it'll be an interesting issue coming up, but I'm really, really excited to do that. There was some discussion this week from Governor Walz. He's presenting an economic relief package that will hopefully help keep our small businesses afloat, because they're the ones that are really struggling the most. And the plan is to provide direct aid to them and waive some of the regulatory fees for the bars and restaurants. We need to make sure that we're supporting our workers so that they get by, and that means possibly extending unemployment benefits for another 13 weeks. And that could end up helping as many as 100,000 workers whose benefits end at the end of this month. So the end of December. I mean, imagine starting the year with that worry and that pressure on you. And then again, those one-time emergency benefits to struggling families. The governor would like to provide a $500 one-time emergency payment. And then again, looking for ways to support restaurants, to provide food for our healthcare workers, our homeless shelters, and long-haul care facilities. So those are the kind of things that are percolating at the Capitol. I know that both the House and the Senate are trying to figure out what their priorities are going to be this next year. And if you have issues that you feel are really super important, make sure you contact your legislator or your local government person and let them know how and what you think is what needs to be done, because just in the 4 years I've been in office, people will contact me about, you need to fix this, you can't do that, we shouldn't be doing this, we need to be doing that. But sometimes the best messages are suggestions of how to fix those issues. If you know it and you know it well, like the woman that's taking over my seat in the House is an immigration lawyer. She has all kinds of ideas how to fix immigration law. And so those are the kind of things that will help us do our job the best. And then my news is that as of tomorrow at 3:15, I will be officially retired from teaching as a library media specialist. So I'll be able to concentrate more on my Senate. And then I just want to wish everybody a very, very happy and respectful Native American month. It was just our National Native American Heritage Day. And my brother has done like this incredible extensive genealogy on all branches of my family. And so we have been able to learn and understand and find all kinds of interesting family members. So I appreciate those relatives that came before me that have helped me be the person that I am today. So thanks very much. That's my report.
Wow. Thanks, Mary. It's always great to hear from you. And I always think you must edit that spot you send me every Saturday, but you just did 10 minutes, no problem right there. That's awesome. So I'd like to go up next with our new House Representative, Heather Keeler, and get an update of what's going on with Heather. And we're super excited to have you on, Heather, as always.
Well, thanks for having me. I feel like we all need to get those mugs that say you're on mute and just like put them up, because it happens in every meeting, right? That one of us muted. But first I want to just say to Winona, I have respected you and like you've done such amazing work, and I am really humbled to be in this space and share this energy with you. And please reach out and let me know, like as I learn this part of the journey for me and how I can be a voice, for our people, for our land, for our water, for our next generations. Relationships like yours would be so powerful. So I look forward to that. Mary, the work that you've done as an educator is just so phenomenal. And I know that the kids that you've touched, their lives will just be so empowered by the work that you're going to do. Like, it's so crazy because you don't realize sometimes that you're a role model until like down the road. And then people kind of catch up and tell you, wow, like I had you in my classroom, or I came to the library to see you. So congratulations on being able to take this step, to retire and really focus on this craft. I am newly elected, as some of you maybe know. Like politics was never anything that was in my scope of life or the goals that I had. So it's really been a surreal journey for me. I did everything virtually because I care about the health of my community. So I didn't door knock. Everything was just behind a screen. And so when I got to go to the state office building and do all of our paperwork. And then we were able to do a tour. And I really wanted to step on the House floor for the very first time, being very prideful in who I am. So, I wore my moccasins that I dance in, and I wore a ribbon skirt with a rainbow pattern on it, because to me, being part of the LGBTQ population, I really want to be able to be visible, but be a voice and know that we're heard and we're seen and we're valued and we're loved. And that even though I might stand alone in some of the decisions that I want to fight for, like I know that I'm standing with so many people. And then I also wore my medallion that was for the murdered and missing Indigenous women work that I've done. And I appreciate Mary and the rest of the task force for the work that they've started there. So I'm really looking forward to some of that. I'm very disappointed in the permit that's been signed. It's really hard being an elected representative, but not stepping in, to your role yet, because we're kind of just stuck in this space of like, well, call the governor's office or do stuff on Twitter. And, we try to do that, but I really hope that, the relationships that I'm building, that I can help hold people accountable for those decisions. I really supported our governor in his efforts to say that he cared about clean energy and he cared about our people and he cared about our water. And this action doesn't really align with that. And so But also I want to give credit to Peggy Flanagan for firmly standing, against that decision with him and being vocal for that, because that's always a good, it's a good step and it's a good stance to show that like she's able to make her own decisions and stand up for all of us. For me, some of the big things that my community has been really talking about is obviously healthcare, but just the impacts that it's having on our nurses right now. Our nurses are tired and they're exhausted and they're frustrated. I'm in Moorhead up here, so right up against Fargo, and Fargo is like the land that COVID doesn't exist, or they feel like it doesn't exist in the way that they act and some of the things that they're, the protocols that they're walking through. And it's really affecting our nurses. And so, a couple of us, just Moorhead moms, made some cookies and got some gift cards and took them over to the COVID ICU center just to say thank you. Because I think that we have to remember that like those little acts of appreciation can go so far in our community. And the last thing we need is our nurses to walk out right now. And then also, like Mary said, education is so important. And I would even extend like our pre-K is so important because a lot of our littles have been home. My 4-year-old's upstairs right now with my teenager and he's been home all this time. So he missed preschool at an age when it's so important to learn how to socialize. And it's so important to learn some of those problem solving skills that when he goes to kindergarten next year, is there going to be like, is he going to be really behind? And is his whole class going to be behind? And how are we supporting all of that? And so I just really look forward to building relationships. That's kind of what I'm all about right now. And continuously having the courage to step up and say things that maybe aren't the easiest things to say. And so one of the things that Robert and I have talked about is me starting my own show. Because in case you don't know, there's like a little bit of this inner Oprah in me that I would just like love to have my own show and ask people questions and really get into the conversations that people feel like we're too afraid to have. And so it'll be on Wednesday nights. Wendy came up with a name, so it's Together with Heather. It's really just a space to start having those bigger conversations. And it's not just our Indigenous brothers and sisters. It's everybody across Turtle Island making sure that we get all perspectives, because a lot of us are unseen. A lot of us are having decisions made, for us and not with us. And so I'm just really excited to start on that journey. It'll start this Wednesday at 7:30. So log in, have a little grace as I learn how to do this, but just hope that we can have some really genuine conversations. Pilame always. And thanks, Robert, for hosting.
Let me jump in here for a second while I still have you on. Can you tell everyone what the first show is going to be about? Because I think it's really exciting and a really unique angle.
Yeah, well, so with the name being Together with Heather, I think that it's important that I share a lot about who I am, and the most important parts of me are my family. And so it's going to be my mom, because I learned, a lot from watching my mom work really, really hard. It's going to be my brother, because he kind of pushed the envelope when it came to how far we could go in education. And then my son, who's 14, who he's actually going to be taking. So right now I'm the vice chair of our Human Rights Commission, but due to policy and bylaws, I can't stay on that committee. And so actually my son's decided to step up and take my place on that commission in our community. And so it'll just be a conversation with all of us and how, generationally things are different, and what kind of stepping up into leadership means to all of us. And then I'll always have a 6-minute education corner, because what I do is education. And so I'll be always every week giving some sort of tips or tricks, whether it's college preparation, whether it's scholarships that are open, whether it's, different things just to be aware of as people are making the step to higher education. Because I think that we have a lot of first generation students that maybe just don't know some of these things. And also there's a lot of scholarship opportunities. And I just want to do my best to share that stuff with our communities.
Wow, that's exciting. And I'm glad that Native Roots Radio Network can help you out with this, because you have a strong voice, and you're one of the young people that we really, really want to help in any way we can. I want to go to Audrey, who's another big winner here in the election circle here. And we love Audrey, and we just love when she's on. So welcome, Audrey Thayer.
Yeah, I'm going to try not to be too much of a comedian tonight because Winona's there, and I want, I'd love to just be joking, but tonight I want to say a huge, sincere thank you to Winona. We've known each other for many, many years, and she has been steadfast in her work and her fight for our Earth Mother and for the water. And thank you, Winona, and as we walk our separate ways alongside each other in activity. So it's been an interesting transition right now. I went from activism, which is truly been my love, and I changed into being in classroom where you were acting, and teaching about decolonization, education as an Indigenous history and leadership teacher at LLTC, Leech Lake Tribal College. Now I'm moving into, public service. And so that challenge of where you fit in activism is going to be interesting. So I'm also, like Heather, I'm building relationships right now because, as an activist, I was always in the faces of people, right? So that doesn't always work. You have to build relationships so you can be in their face. And so I'm busy with that, not prepared for some of the phone calls already. I don't get sworn in until January, but the calls are already coming in. And they're calls about, human issues in community right now. People not happy with the homeless community. And almost like they want them to be invisible, to the real deep concern of noise pollution of a worker that has an office that's on 15th and Bemidji, and he wants the noise to stop. And so you've got to, kind of, I know that I'll be getting those kind of calls. So we were busy Friday night. I'm kind of laughing now because Heather will be on now on Wednesday nights, and I only have Wednesday nights, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday I'm usually helping Robert out. And so now Wednesday night at 7:30, I've got to listen to Heather, because this is so important. So I'm really excited about that, Heather. And but it's like, might as well take the rest of my evenings because during the day I'm very busy with teaching, and then of course my the doctorate work and getting the dissertation. So we're in a building relationship right now. We are busy meeting with the government employees and listening to them, and then I'm also very, very keen to community. So Friday night, we had the Night We'd Light in Bemidji. And of course, because of COVID, the JCs in the city had to they do all the holiday stuff. And I'm not a big holiday fan, but I also know that we needed to get Dan Jordana out there. So we got a float together, makeshift thing, and that was my Friday off. There we were trying to put a float together with lights, and it was to be a 2-hour event of back-to-back cars. It turned out to be a 3.5-hour event, back-to-back cars, but it was a wonderful night to be out to see people. I got to greet people that I hadn't seen since I've been elected, and was able to visit. Dan was able to get his flyers out to every car because they go right by. And I'm really grateful for my oldest daughter, Tammy. So she was with us out there in the chilly evening. So it has been, it's important that Dan gets elected. One, because he's a level-headed, he's bright, he is a good writer and a good listener. He's had some police schooling in his background from Leech Lake Tribal College, which is useful because one of our priorities is looking at the commission for the city of Bemidji. And so so at-large position. It's a special election. He runs and gets people have to vote on February 9th. And he's running against old school Bemidji, who's also been on the council prior. And so we're hoping that we can get him in there. And that also, because community thinks once you're elected, you have that you can just make the magic wand work really well without understanding it takes votes by all council members. And we have 7. So if Dan would get elected, then that would be 3 of us who are progressive and 3 that leaned conservative. And then we could work with the mayor, the newly elected mayor, who we have no, it's a long shot on how he's going to feel about line 3, because his one parts of his company is making pipes for the pipeline. He seems to have a good talk. I don't know him well enough, but I'm going to build that relationship to the best of my ability, because that is the responsibility. And I know the tribal nations will expect me to work hard for all the indigenous people, as well as the people in the city of Bemidji who are not necessarily all indigenous. So it will be exciting time. I'm really grateful to be here in this space with you all. Mary, good luck, and I'm glad you're moving. Does someone move you? I'm curious. Do you have to move, or does someone do it for you?
Actually, they have somebody that will do that. I thought I was going to have to move all my things, and I was looking for a card, and I didn't know what my new office was going to be. And they said, no, don't worry about that. We will move it all for you. So I guess that's one of the little perks of the job.
Our perks is I have to get a new table in my house for all the city council material because we don't have offices. So I'm already, it's already stacking the policies already. As we look for equity within all the policies and make sure that our community needs are met. So I hear I get a laptop. So that's nice, and I'll have my own email address, which is nice. But as far as space, and so it's just going to be moving one desk. But I'll have 3 desks: one for my dissertation and all my doctorate work, one for my LLTC teaching, and then a third one will be for my city council materials that's already stacked up. So that is what's going on. It's a little bit of a lull. I told Robert earlier, I said, I don't know what to talk about because, I kind of was trying to relax, we didn't have to have classes or any of that, but I am concerned about the lack of education in the city of Bemidji on the issues of water. And line 3, we have, they set MN3s all over in Bemidji area. And I've got to figure out how to start a relationship. They may not listen. They probably won't. But, it'll be in a different space because education is what we're going to need for them to understand when we have activists out there, why they're there and the importance of the water. And Winona's raising her hand. What is that? What is that, Winona?
Can I say something? Or can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I keep feeling like, why are we having this? Wait, there on my head. Thank you. Why are we having this conversation? What we need to be talking about is the just transition, not we need to be talking about how we make jobs that don't have conflict anymore. These are like conflict jobs. This is like blood diamonds. This is like causes conflict. And what we need is real jobs over the long term. I mean, we need pipeliners, but what we need is like water and sewer pipes. So the next 100-year flood that happens in Duluth, you don't lose the rest of the city. We need it all, we need all kind of stuff. And so Audrey, you're on the city council. Lyz, you're on the city council. Let's talk just transition. Let's talk about the next job economy that we really need. Because, so I'm just saying, let's take this opportunity to talk about where we're going. And I know that things are going to be not good, but, what we need is the governor to do the right thing and to have the courage to have a just transition, because Bob Blake is ready to show
I
us
have
where
to
to go.
agree, Winona, definitely. And, that it is important to have a just transition. But I'm concerned right now with most of our businesses, our small businesses are now not, our servers are unemployed. They're closing it at 10. I have a lot of them were students. They don't know how they're going to pay their rent. So I was listening close to Mary Kunesh, what she was saying, because we have many, and we're not even near livable wage in most of the businesses in this community. And now we've taken what little they have. So as along with just transition, I'm worried about the people and that they need to eat. It just is, it's not a good scenario whatsoever when I see how many people have been laid off. One restaurant, a successful restaurant, had 200 and some employees, and they're down to 12. Everybody's laid off, and that was a combination of 3 restaurants. That's not good. And so, it is an interesting time. It is an interesting time, but you know me, Winona, I will not be quiet. And I will stand strong, very, very strong, and how to, and I will ruffle feathers. I realize that the chicken feathers that are, already here, that I'm going to be asking for my plate in my table setting at that table. So we'll see. And I wanted to say turkeys, but that's not nice. So anyway, but I hear you, Winona. That's it, Robert.
Hey, thank you. And speaking of which, I want to bring on this. Thank you, Winona, for that input too. I want to bring up one of the big water protectors I know, and she does co-hosts a show with me on Tuesdays, and that's Nancy Beaulieu, and all the great work that she's been doing up there. And yes, definitely give her a hand. Welcome, Nancy. Let's hear your truth.
Well, bonjour, and it's always an honor to hold space with all these, fellow water protectors. And I can announce that I am Nancy Beaulieu, Leech Lake, and I'm an organizer for Minnesota 350 and a co-founder of RISE Coalition. And I'm just listening to our elected officials and what Winona just brought up. One of the biggest things that we're working here right now is having a conversation, and it's based upon 4 scenarios, and it's just like, what if we don't do anything? I mean, where's the world heading? And all the environmental damage, and the system isn't working for us. And so we could just stay there, or we can imagine something together, and that's the last of the 4 scenarios. And the conversation is actually, what does a transition look like based around environmental and racial justice, based around treaty responsibility? So it is a conversation that we're inviting the Bemidji City Council to, and I talked to Audrey about that already, put a little bug in her ear, and we got Emily Ward on board, and also got Tim Sumner from the Beltrami County Commissioners on board. And what we're doing is inviting the Bemidji City Council, the commissioners, the 3 local reservation, our tribal elected officials, and inviting community leaders, spiritual leaders, our youth. And so we're having this like big round table discussion, and we're trying to imagine what the future could look like. We know people like Commissioner Gosvick, Beltrami County, does not want anything to do with treaty responsibility. There's a misconception that these are the treaties are artifacts, and what they don't realize is that we gave them treaty land, that we gave them land, rights to hunt, fish, and gather under that treaty responsibility that we share together. So they don't belong to us. We're all treaty people. So if you're still living on this land, you are benefiting from all the resources, and the extraction is actually not a good thing for us. So we're trying to find a new future, and that future includes having that conversation. And if these elected officials want to say, no, I don't want to pay attention because I'm not going to listen to a treaty responsibility here, we're going to actually present a Treaty 101, and it basically defines treaties in a really like a 101 kind of way. We're not going to overwhelm them because the treaties can be miles long and too much to know for people. So our goal is just to make them understand or remind them is that one, treaties were intended for us to be good neighbors, and two, good stewards of the earth. And that's a treaty responsibility that we have to start talking about. And just because someone says, I don't want to pay attention, that's not going to work no more. So we got a $10,000 grant from the Lincoln Institute to create that conversation. And I'm working with our executive director, Sam Grant from Minnesota 350, and some of our volunteers at Minnesota 350 as well to create that. So this is a project that's actually going to go into June of 2021. So we're in the beginning phases on our invite list. We're having a press release, and we're doing all kinds of good things to make that conversation happen. Another thumbs up, some work coming forward is what we learned from Get Out the Native, our Rock the Vote Native style, was that our people, our Native peoples, don't have a place to come and gather in a culturally kind of way. So Minnesota 350, our executive directors have agreed to start a campaign, a Native peoples campaign. And under that campaign, we're going to have our new treaty work. And if you want to get involved at Minnesota 350, you can find us, the treaty pledge. Our treaty team is at Minnesota 350 /treaty pledge. And there you can find out the history of the true history of Minnesota and the treaty land that you're occupying, and you can find out ways how you can engage and uphold treaty responsibility, be a good ally. And I think it's a good foundation where we all can start learning that, you know, there is a responsibility here. And because for so long and too long, we have become the forgotten people. And that doesn't work, Robert. It doesn't work anywhere. So there's a lot of good things going on up here. And unfortunately, I think in this next week, the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency may issue a stormwater permit. And so the future for some of us water protectors are, well, I don't know where I'm going to be. I just know I'm going to be there protecting the sacred. And if Winona says she needs me, I'm going to be there. I'm getting prepared for that. And I just know I'm going to follow my heart and do what's right and protect the water. And that's what we all need to do, Robert. And another great thing is thank you for all you candidates that ran, and just to hear you guys talking about protecting our water. This is the power we need, and we have to continue with voter education going into 2022 midterms and 2024 and beyond. And you guys have led the way, and I'm just so excited to work on what comes next and building on what we got. So this space brings a bunch of powerful people together, and I think we got something good here. So water's life.
Thank you, Nancy. I just, for all you've done, and you know that I really have appreciated everything you have done. And it's going to take so much work for all of us. You know, we're on the same page, but it's going to take us all the different paths as we get moving. I forgot to mention, and I know that, you know, we have the Ndaji group, and they'll be working on treaties and white fragility coming up. And because we bring speakers, and of course we had Clyde Belcourt there 2 weeks ago, and Clyde and our chief of police spoke, and we're going to see more of Clyde. And, you know, we have a police chief that was really okay with it. I mean, it was nice to hear that turning. Not meaning I trust. I just saying to see a turn, because I'm not one to trust, and that is just where I'm at. But we'll see how that goes. But thank you, Nancy, for everything.
You're welcome, Audrey. And I think, you know, a lot of it has to do with educating these non-Native people of their treaty responsibility. And I think, you know, what Heather mentioned before in a couple webinars ago was that bringing in treaty education into our school systems and the real history of our people. We really need to start talking about that, because if we don't talk truths, reparations are never going to happen, because those land acknowledgements are, we need a little bit more than that. We need to move forward.
Yeah, I agree. What I want to do now is, when we talk a little bit about a just way to go, a just environmental. I think of Bob Blake from Red Lake, and he's one of my, I've known Bob and his family for so long, and we're really glad to have him on here. And I know I'm going to be in here right now, beautiful buddy. That didn't come out of my mouth, did it? But I just want to say, hey, Bob Blake, thanks so much. We had so much fun. Come on and say your truth.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me, everyone. Love all of you beautiful Native women. You guys are great. I'm so proud of all of you for running for office and winning. That is so cool. I know how difficult it is to run for public office. But I'm just really excited about everything, guys. I think we're heading in a good direction. I mean, I'm with Winona. Like, we got to talk about the jobs, the just transition, how we get there. You know, I would suggest to the newly elected Representative Keeler, get with Jamie Becker Finn. And I mean, one thing that, you know, I really want to figure out is, how do we create a Tribal Utilities Commission? You know, so a Tribal Utilities Commission can act in conjunction with the Public Utilities Commission. And we got to, you know, when there's decisions like pipelines, you know, we can have some say about that, you know. And I was thinking about John Trudell, beat him with your mind. I was thinking what John says, beat him with your mind. And so that's where I'm really going with that. Up in Red Lake, we're on this process of working with MnDOT and how to work with MnDOT. This is the reason for this, is because I want to be able to use this as a template for other tribes to work with MnDOT and also work with the state. This is all about laying the groundwork for our TUC, for our Tribal Utilities Commission. So each one of the tribes could have their own energy company. I always say too that energy is $1 trillion industry. Gaming is $1 billion industry. People, we're in the wrong industry. We need to be in the energy game. That's where it's at. That's where the math is at. Not only that, it will provide good jobs, long-term jobs. It's going to have our people, you know, work on education, be more educated. The more people that we have in our community that is educated, the better decision making they're going to be making with their analytical skills are being sharpened. I just see this as just a way forward, and for all of society, right? The other thing is too, you know, I think in listening to like all of you talk too tonight, and just so, you know, excited for everything, but just you know, in a sense that, like, I mean, you know, when we look at all our deficits, you know, State Senator Mary was talking about the deficits and stuff like that. I mean, you know, I just think about like how we could be using like renewable energy to really tackle this deficit. You know, when you look at Canada, I mean, they're like, they don't want these pipelines now. It's just all this stuff that's happening right now. We don't need to go backwards. We need to go forward. Energy has pushed society forward since the beginning of time. You know, we think about fire and how that's pushed man forward, the Industrial Revolution. Now we're in this third Industrial Revolution, where this is going to push us forward, but we have to do it with renewable energy. And that's where we're really at. You know, oil is done. Coal is done. And so, I mean, this is where we really have to go. So just really hope that, you know, I can employ that on our new reps, our new elected officials. Please push for renewable energy. Audrey, you're talking about jobs in your community. You know, this is, you know, this is the transition. It's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be painful. But this is how we move forward. We have to move forward out of this old economy and into this new economy, and it really does involve renewable energy and hemp, you know, and just being at one with the planet, you know, is kind of what I'm always kind of preaching. I'm on the Workforce Development Board with Minnesota, and soon going to be on Ramsey County's working on. We're working on transitioning the Boys Totem Town site into a workforce development center. The idea there is then that I want that to be able to be like this hub where we can then get out the curriculum to the other 11 tribes into their workforce development centers. I was telling the people up here at the state and in Ramsey County that one of the best kept secrets in the state of Minnesota is our workforce development centers on tribal reservations, and we need to be at tune with them and work with them more. So that's what I'm hoping to do there. A little update on the Little Earth project. It's a $10 million project at Little Earth. I love Little Earth. Little Earth is my heart. I love the people over at Little Earth. Been going there my entire life. I'm about $1 million short. So I've been working around the RDA account, the Renewable Development account. Mary and Heather, you're going to be very familiar with this account. It's about $70 million in there right now. So I'm trying to get an extra $1 million out of that account for the project there. But this will be the first virtual power plant in the state of Minnesota. Little Earth will be the first virtual power plant. This is really going to show us what we can do with low income solar and storage. And so the idea behind this is that if we could do this project here at Little Earth, then we could do it at low income housing all across the state. Then we could put those funds into early childhood development, after school training, or workforce development, early childhood development, just other ideas for those communities. McDonough housing projects, Mount Airy, you name it. So that's what I'm really excited about Little Earth right now. Things have been going really good over there. So hopefully we can get this project done. I've been working on this for 3 years, people. 3 years I've been working on this Little Earth project. It's crazy. But the city of Minneapolis is really excited about this, and our partners are also really excited about this. And I think that was it. The part about the Red Lake project, the farm is going to be 13 megawatts. That's the one that will be under the Great Transmission power line. And there'll be 5 megawatts within the tribe. So it's about 18 megawatts total for the project. And we'll be receiving our flow batteries. We'll be installing these flow batteries in the spring. So what's really exciting about that, we had to order from China. It's taken us a year to get a flow battery. But we'll be getting those in, and we'll be installing those in the spring. So what's really cool about that is our people need to learn this. Our people need to get their heads wrapped around this, because these are the jobs that they're going to be doing. My idea is that when we can have the Tribal Utilities Commission, and I want Winona LaDuke to be the chairperson for this. I want her to be arguing with Katie Seaman. Katie was my old professor, so I would love to see Winona argue with Katie Seaman about the TUC and the PUC going at it. Tara will be our vice chair. It'd be so cool. But my whole idea here is that, when we can get that, people, then we can create our own co-op, and our own co-op in the state of Minnesota. We can sell power back and forth on the power lines, just like the power companies do. This is their little secret. These are the things they don't tell you about. But the tribes can then do that. And this is going to be another opportunity for tribes to gain revenue, bring in jobs to the community. And because, what's going to happen is they're going to have a lot of stranded assets, people. They've got 50-year coal contracts, okay? With all the renewable energy coming online right now, they're not going to be able to fulfill those 50-year contracts, okay? So we're going to see our electricity bills only go up, and because they're going to have to subsidize all the renewable energy coming online. This is where the tribes can really get involved, but we have to train our people. We have to get our people ready to do this and create our own tribal utilities. That's about it, Robert. Did I jump that out there? Is that BAM?
Well, I love having you on. Everybody's giving the fingers. That's awesome. Before I get to Amber Torres, chairperson. No, we're all talking about Iowa. We're all hanging out, Amber. Welcome back, Amber. I'd love to have an update of what's happening in Arizona with your tribe. And again, congratulations on your re-election, Amber. Pinagigi for being on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So, as you remember, I'm from Nevada. I do service, on a lot of national committees. I advocate for everything for the Arizona and Utah areas as well. But we're doing pretty good down here, and thank you for the congratulations on my reelection. Very, very excited. Now I will hold a 4-year term, so we can definitely get a lot going here at Walker River and have some sustainability going forward. So again, I'm very, very excited. So, and thank you, Bob.
So, can you give us any updates on what's going on with the COVID with you? I know you guys were fighting the good fight for so long, and then we had a few people get it, and you closed down your border. What's happening now, Amber?
Right. So, I'm happy to say that right now we've only got 5 people that are currently or actively positive. And those people should actually be falling off this week, so they will be healed and ready to go back into the world and be productive. Um, I'm sad to say that the surrounding areas around us are not as fortunate right now. We're based in a tri-county area, and we're seeing the numbers just escalate all around us. But we've kept our reservation closed since March, but we were actually able to, for the holidays, open up to all tribal members once again. So it was really, really nice to have tribal members come home, visit their elders. We did a lot of testing prior to them coming into the elders' homes. And basically, like we've talked about before, there was just such a altered mental status with our elders that we had to finally open up those barriers and those borders so that our people could come home and see their loved ones, because again, we never know what tomorrow will bring. But it was a very nice time. People were able to conjoin again, see each other again, see their families that they haven't seen, for a very long time. So it was actually very good. And we're still just continuing to monitor, watch, and be as preventative as possible. So it's actually going pretty good here. I'm happy to say that.
Well, and that's totally awesome. I'm wondering, before I get to the next guest, Winona, do you have anything to add? I think one of the things would be cool to have in Nevada, Amber, is some hemp and some solar panels. What's happening there in that respect?
Like I said, I think we can kind of, with this CARES funding, it has been a challenge to try to spend this kind of money within the last 6 months available. I'm really hoping and banking and praying on an extension of the CARES funding. We've got until December 31st to spend these millions of dollars on projects that would create prevention and allow us to battle COVID going forward. We're always continuously looking for projects and things that we can plan for our future with. But, like I said, currently we're doing marijuana, but, definitely looking into moving into hemp, solar, wind, geothermal, all of those different things. So just continuing to look for projects that would be the best for the Walker River people as a whole. So,
I spend a lot of my time just thinking about resilience, right? How do we ensure and build resilience in our communities? Because we learned a lot in this pandemic, like food system don't work, right?
Right.
And so what are we going to do? That's this opportunity. It's winter now, spring's going to come. What are we going to plant? What food we could plant, what ideas we're going to plant. So I don't know. I pray for the best. If you got some opportunities, plant some seeds for the future with that money.
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing I am proud to say, that we've actually started a food sovereignty program here at Walker River because we're located in a food desert. Our local Walmart is 40 miles away, with poverty and, access barriers between getting to town or paying your bills. We've actually started a program here with, orchards and just a lot of different things, looking at cattle, just so many different things, because we do have to be self-sustainable. And so I'm very excited for that. But again, with this money going away fairly soon, we're trying as hard as possible to get these projects completed, that would help us battle and prevent COVID going forward.
Very cool. Very cool. So thank you, Amber, for being on. You're one of the originals of the Sunday Night Symposium that we started almost 9 months ago. So thanks, and it's always great to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Great to see you guys as well.
Lyz, you just newly elected. You're one of the warriors that we're talking about, a native person newly elected in the city council. It's huge. Welcome, Lyz.
Bonjour, Nendoe Maganiduk. I'm happy to be here. I'm kind of in the same stage with Audrey, just trying to prepare and to be ready to hit the ground running. So I'm really glad to be with this group of people here who obviously are bringing in so much, experience and knowledge, and it really helps me to get my head in the game. So I'm really happy for this opportunity, and listening to Bob and Winona and Amber. It just really helps me to reconnect, after reading pages and pages of policy and the League of Minnesota Cities and like all of that stuff, which is so important because I got to know that stuff, right? But to come here and reconnect is hugely important. So I'm grateful for this opportunity, Robert. Thank you.
Pete Gigi, for being here and doing what you're doing for our people. Really excited to have more Native voice in the offices. It's these smaller offices that are so important. So I'd like to talk to Taysha, right? Is that did I say your name right? Because I'm very bad at names, and you can ask Mary Kunesh about that.
It's Taysha, yeah, Taysha.
I'll get it by next year. Welcome. Speak your truth.
Bonjour. Jesus, Kijikwe, Nindishnakas, Nagachi Wanang, and Dunjiba, Magizi Dodam. Hello, my name is Taysha Martineau, and I'm from the Fond du Lac Reservation, and I am Eagle Clan. I am a mother of 4 amazing, beautiful children, 3 of whom were born female. And growing up, I was taught that the statistics I faced as an Indigenous woman was 1 in 3. And so those statistics drove me to do the activism that I do today. Well, actually, I was doing a lot of like water protector actions, showing up, doing solidarity actions. And I met a woman by the name of Misty Babineau. And this was at the PUC meeting, and we're all standing outside, and we're chanting, and we have the banners, and we're all doing all this fun stuff. And Misty turned to me and she goes, I swear to God, she goes, if I hear one more person mention MMIW without putting boots to the ground to do something about it, I'm going to lose my shit. And Misty scares me. So I decided I'm putting boots to the ground. Misty's great. She's been a huge support to me. I know that MN350 is going to be launching an MMIWR campaign soon. I'm not sure if I have links to that, but there's a lot of new and exciting things going on here in Fond du Lac, especially for our group. With COVID, everything has been really hard. I do a lot of support within the community. I made it my personal responsibility to kind of change the perspective that people had when they thought about water protector and what it is they thought when that came to mind, And for many of people here, they thought about like these like angry radicals, which of course I am. I'm angry and I'm radical, but what it takes to be an activist and put boots to the ground is radical love. And I feel like that's what activism is. You're out there because you care about this cause. And for me, I guess the last couple years, I've been just like pouring all the love that I have into my family and my community, because that's how we change things. Is it has to start at home. And here in Fond du Lac, this is my home. And I get really emotional when I think about it, because I know the path that I've taken. I know what I've signed up for. And I know that where this ends, and there's just a lot of emotions that I'm navigating, a lot of trauma that I navigate with the work that I do. And what I do is I help search and patrol for missing murdered Indigenous women and relatives. And we also do community support, elder support. It's like we've made it our job to love this community so much so that moving forward, they recognize that those angry radicals, those are just children of the tribe. Those are just children of the tribe who are taking action and looking to make changes. A new exciting development is there's a piece of land that's up for sale, and this just like became new to us recently, and it's very exciting, but we have to move fast because of where it's located. Oh shoot, hang on, I swiped something. But because of where it's located, we have to move fast, because if Enbridge knows that, well, I'm sure they know now, they're probably well aware of what our plans are, and so we have to move fast. And so we're trying to utilize like our platforms in order to like get a hold of this land so that we can continue our work towards environmental and racial justice. And the reason acquiring this land is so important is because as a water protector, the actions that I take against Enbridge and being in open opposition of the Line 3 pipeline, the governing body that owns the home that me and my children live in, they own this home. And they're in agreement with the Enbridge Line 3 replacement project. And so that puts me at risk for staying within housing. They own everything, the food program, the land I live on, the house I live on. So being able to purchase this area of land, it just frees me to be able to be more out there and more able to respond to all the calls that I'm answering. And tomorrow, it's set to begin tomorrow. Construction on the Line 3 pipeline is set to begin tomorrow. And I know that in the days coming forward, if I end up face down in the snow with the cuffs on, there's going to be a safe space where my children are. And I know that this is something I've committed to. I'd never held out much hope for Tim Walz to stop this, but it's still emotional when I think about it, because I'm a mother, and I think about my children, but I also think about my children while doing the work that I do, because they're the reason I'm doing it, and their children and their children who come after need someone to take a stand, and I have to be that someone. So I want my community and everyone here listening today to remember that this is what the opposition is built on. It's not like these crazy unknown radicals with masks on from outside communities just pouring in. The opposition is mothers terrified for their children, terrified that their children aren't going to grow up being able to gather rice, aren't going to grow up being able to hunt deer. It's just a lot of fear driving me, but there's also so much love behind all of the work that I do. And I'm hoping that moving forward, my community recognizes that and remembers that, as opposed to like just the protester that the courts and Enbridge are going to paint all of us who are in opposition. But yes, the land back thing, we ended up making a GoFundMe because that just seemed like the best way to do it. I can drop that link here and figure out how to share it. But it's just really exciting because we need areas where resistance is wanted and okay. And we can't do that. Like, we can't just like show up at the RBC parking lot and be like, all right, this is where we're doing things today. And so in order for like the movement and the resistance to move forward, we need to start working together more in solidarity all across the board, whether you're frontline, whether you're at home, whether you're social media, whatever it is you're doing, we all need to start working together moving forward, because the children of the tribe are waiting for us to take a stand today.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wow. Winona, let me unmute you here real quick. Looks like you got something, then I'll jump to Mary. Go ahead, unmute yourself, Winona, because I think I tried to. There you go.
No, I just want to thank you for your words and your strong courage. I mean, that's the truth. They're trying to make a lot of things up about us and say a lot of rotten things, but we're a bunch of women and a bunch of community people who just want to drink the water and have our grandkids be able to drink the water. And it's not a crime to be a water protector. It's a crime to not be a water protector, And I'm proud to stand here with my sisters and brothers and, say I'm a water protector. And thank you so much, though, for, what you said. And we're right with you. And make sure you inbox me, because we do got to take care of each other as these man camps come in. And the last thing I just want to say, which I think people already brought up, is like, look, 4,200 workers in the middle of a pandemic. What are you thinking, Waltz? What are you thinking? You got a pandemic, and these are out-of-state workers. Those union workers, they're out of state. Take a look. Check out these camps. Check out these people up here. Don't do this to us. You could put a stay on this, Governor Waltz, and protect our communities. You already issued the permits, so they know they got to go ahead. Just put a stay. They can take a little relax. It's not that important to put the health of Minnesotans at risk for a Canadian corporation. It's not the right thing to do.
Yeah, amen to that. Peeny Gigi, thank you for bringing that up. Mary, or was somebody else going to speak? I saw Lyz. Were you going to say something?
I was just going to jump in and say that, we're so grateful for the work that Taysha does and her organizations. With the Gitchigumi Scouts and the, I'm trying to think of your other organizations that you do work with, Taysha, but I just wanted to make sure that I was able to, speak to support her because the work that she does is really influential. She's held a number of community gatherings that are based in this radical love that she's talking about. And that's what we're going to need as we move forward. And I am completely in support of that. And as, like thinking about the big picture, we just found out this weekend that my oldest son and his girlfriend, they contracted COVID, and they're doing okay. They're young 20-year-olds, so they're able to kind of hold it back, but the work that is required in our communities to keep each other healthy and move forward, throughout this time until we know more about the vaccination and all of the details in that. Yeah, we don't need to be worrying about whether or not we have to deal with the backlash of the line 3 workers. My other son and I were out jogging tonight, and those trucks, I live right on the main drag in Fond du Lac, and those trucks coming by, like they're not watching out for us, okay, at all. And when I was a kid, we could, do wheelies out in that road and nothing would happen to us. We would there was no traffic. Now we have constant big truck traffic, like the equipment, the dirt haulers, the tree. They're cutting down so many trees out here. We have a lot of work in front of us, and so I'm grateful that Taysha's doing the work she's doing. Winona's doing the work that she's doing. Bob, wow, thank you, Bob, for bringing in that information. There's just so much going on, and yeah, we need to hold each other together, support each other, help as we move forward. We will be stronger together. Sorry, I kind of went longer than I intended, but.
Oh.
Yeah, and I just really wanted to reflect on what Winona said in this line 3 being pushed during the middle of a pandemic. Aiken County, there was a conversation earlier about Palisade, and the COVID rate is really high in that area. It's one of the worst places in Minnesota, and there's a construction site in that area in Aiken County, and the medical professionals, along with concerned citizens, have actually started a petition to urge Governor Waltz to cease construction and through this pandemic. And so there is huge concern there, and that's really concerning because today I just found out in Shevlin, Minnesota, just right up the road, we got another man camp. So These are really, really close to our communities. And, the governor is not taking heed to, the science that he so supposedly believes in. He needs to put public health first before he puts a foreign company, and their profits before us. And I just think this is an insult to especially the 1924 government to government executive order Trump has set, or not Trump, but Walz has set forth, and to dishonor tribes during appeals process is just literally, it's a slap in the face to that government to government. And so where and when does he put our people in our health? We matter too. And the governor is speaking with the forked tongue. He's got pipelines on one side and environmental issues on the other side, and that doesn't work for us. So anyways, I just want to everybody make your phone calls and tell Walz and tell the Minnesota Department of Health this is not a good idea.
Thanks
Yeah,
a lot, Nancy. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Winona.
I just wanted to say, so there's 4 ICU beds in Aiken County. There's 4 ICU beds, and there's 5,000 at-risk people, a lot of elderly people, certainly a lot of Native people without like a lot of extra income to address this, And then you look someplace like Bemidji. So a couple weeks ago, Bemidji had 20 of their 60 COVID beds full, 30% capacity. And like as of Friday, they had 131 COVID patients, 218% of planned capacity. We don't have the capacity for COVID right now in these northern 4 communities. Why would you import 4,200 people, into these communities in a pandemic? That's making a health crisis work. My math isn't great, but exponential numbers, exponential. That's what we're talking about here. And that's like a crazy thing, we don't want to do that. So it's time to just have a stay. And, we all filed for a day in court. If you really want the system to work, give us a day in court. Give us our day in court. That's how the system works. You don't need to be in a big hurry in a pandemic to shove a pipeline down our throat and get us sick. That's wrong. That's wrong.
I really agree with you, Winona. I can tell you all that tomorrow I will be participating in a meeting with the acting Department of Commerce Commissioner, Grace Arnold. And again, we will be asking for an injunction on that pipeline construction until after their appeal of the PUC permit, until that's resolved. And there's just like so much that everybody is saying that I could speak to, the man camps. On the 3rd, we will be sharing our Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Task Force report, the one that this incredible report that we did in like a year, which is really amazing. And that really concerns me that there are that many people coming in to these communities, as well as creating these man camps. And it's, it's hard for us down here in the Twin Cities. We're not living it. We're not seeing it right outside our door. We're not hearing, the direct impact even right now. But that, again, is why it's so important to look to those that we would elect to make those decisions in our community. And so with that, I think I would like to turn it over to Dan Jourdain. Dan Jourdain is running again to represent district, I think it's District 42 City Council. Is it? Dan, you're going to have to remind me exactly what it is, what council you're running for, but really proud that you are here and that you are continuing to do the work that you're doing. Oh, Bemidji City Council.
Councilor at large.
Yes, that's what it is.
Thank you, Mary. That's fine. No, we're the only ones in northern Minnesota, actually all of Minnesota. It's a special election, so we made it past our primary November 3rd, and our general election is February 9, 2021. So we're out here still campaigning. danjourdain.com is a new website that we launched up. Thank you guys. Thank Taysha, Winona, Nancy, for the work that you do. All these elected officials in this area, when Nancy talked about the 1855 treaty, understanding these responsibilities, it affects our area in Bemidji here as well. So I'm sure myself, Audrey, and Lyz over in Cloquet area will be seeing this pipeline go through these communities, and we have to make decisions. I think Bemidji here in September, they accepted $10,000 on the Boys and Girls Club from Enbridge. So we wonder like, why are we accepting this money? We don't need your money. We don't need that. We're better off without you. We think about this pandemic. First of all, I want to say it to this pandemic that, send a prayer out to our relatives, because Red Lake Nation got hit hard, and we're the most vulnerable ones in this pandemic with underlying issues. And not only that, with this new test that we have coming up, being the Native Americans and the minorities being the first ones trying this thing for the first time. So prayers that hopefully things work out. I mean, we want people to be safe in this pandemic. So a lot of things we have to worry about. We have to worry about our own people at this time too. So anyways, back to business. I believe Bemidji, Minnesota, we have a lot of work to do here. When Audrey came on earlier, talked about some of the issues, it's because Native Americans never stepped up in this position before. Native Americans never were represented. We're never on a table where we see all these good old boy clubs. And we want to change that. We want to change that normality, because Bemidji is roughly 15,000 people. And we look at our neighbors over in Moorhead, Heather's area, and we look at people over in Duluth, live with Renee Vanette, who are on city council or else state seats. Their diversity levels are enormous. It's like their communities are getting along well. And so we're over here in Bemidji, in a small town up north, 4 hours north of Minneapolis, and we're like, why can't diversity be an inclusion here with the people? And so some of the things that we looked at, and some of the things that I talk about, is just getting out there and being a part of this dialogue. Just recently, our chief of police, who made a statement on the city council meeting, I believe set back the community. And I went on a Zoom meeting with him and told him, hey, we don't do that. We do not work with the minority people like that. You do not call out the people for bashing you on Facebook. I mean, he got into a defensive mode, and it's these types of mentalities where we have to stand up for ourselves. We have to be represented, and it's not only these types of decisions; it's all of the decisions that are happening. Some of the things that are going on over here is we'd rather have a ice hockey arena for the rich people on the north side of town rather than a police commission, where the police are getting away with a lot of things that the community feels that they're getting away with a lot of things. So all of these things we are working with here. Homelessness, our small business community is taking a major hit. We want to help support them. We want to do every single thing we can try to do. And looking at myself being a Native American, that means nothing about my platform. I want everybody to work together. I want to show people that we can work together. We have a voice. We have all types of inclusions. So, I believe with myself running and Audrey also being elected as an official, that is gonna be good for our area. And I trust that yourself over there too, Mary, that you're gonna do a good job with your people. And I trust that everybody around Minnesota that's in these elected positions are going to do a great job and stand up for the Native American. Because when Nancy talks about this 1855 treaty, this pipeline is getting pushed right down our throat, getting pushed through our community, and we're gonna see bloodshed. We're gonna see another type of thing what happened next door neighbors to us in the next state over. So we don't want that. We want our voices heard. So a lot of things to think about. I know we're running out of time. Mr. Bob, thank you for your words earlier too. We want jobs. We want these jobs that are sustainable. We want jobs. We want our people in these jobs, because when we don't have our voices in these positions, the community does not know how to work together with the minority population. It's just what I asked before in the city council and also the county commissioners was, how come our people, we're just as qualified? How come our people can't get in these positions? They would be more comfortable and we'd work together with partnerships. But it's a step. We're getting there. We're getting there, guys. We will get there. I have faith that with Audrey, myself, Tim Sumner, everybody else in this area, we'll continue collaborating and working together to get our voices out there. So I had to make that as quick as possible. But thank you guys, all your guys' work that you do. Keep up the good work, guys, and especially Taysha. I appreciate. that hit me pretty hard, your humbleness there, and especially the men standing up for the women in this responsibility. In our tradition, we are supposed to stand in front of the women that are doing all of this work. You guys, all the women here are amazing. You guys are doing a good job. Appreciate that, guys.
Dan. And what I would like to do too, to respect everybody's time, is like start winding down now. And what I want to go next to is Audrey to give her final statement. And I'm sure big support to you, Dan, as we all have. And we're fighting for you and we're behind you. And then I would like to go to the young woman after Audrey.
Miigwech, thank you for the space tonight. And I think Liz put it well. You know, the League of City policies are stacking up as we're getting through them and understanding what our positions will be when we're on the city council. And I'm looking forward to seeing Dan. The voices were great tonight, and I just don't. Bob, thank you for your. Indigenous teachings we're doing. That's what we're doing right now. We're acting on our teachings. And we're moving forward. And the women on here are some of the strongest women. And last time I was on, we had women that were just as strong. And the amount of work, and it cannot be done just by us alone. It has to be with our ninnies, our men, our warriors alongside of us. So I'm really, really grateful to have Dan. The last, since the primary, we've been back and forth and learning about different things in our meetings weekly. And I'm just hoping now that things will fall in order and Dan gets elected. And I don't even can't even tell you how grateful I am to Tim Sumner and to Dan Jourdain right now. They've been at my side, and that helps to be even stronger with your voice when you've got community that's watching your back, and I've got it, and I'm really grateful for that. That's it.
Pini, Audrey, thank you so much. And what I want to do, I meant to go to Bob Blake from Red Lake next. Bob Blake, speak your truth, and thank you so much for being on. And you're an awesome dude, and you always got the nicest hats during the show.
I'm a big hat collector. I got a lot of hats. I was thinking about something I heard, like a people is conquered when they conquer the women. I think we could see that Native people haven't been conquered, right? Because look at all these strong women that we have here. You know what I mean? And it's you women that give me strength. And I was raised by my mother. I'm a 22-year vet. I mean, she's just incredible. So strong. And I just think about my grandmother, Nellie Spears, who had the St. Paul American Indian Club. I just think about those strong women and just you guys and all the work that you do is just incredible, and it just inspires me. And I just really wish and hope the best for us. I love Native people with all my heart, and just want the best for all of us. And we don't need this pipeline. I just know the facts around renewable energy, and I know everything that's happening in this industry. And I've got big banks out east that are calling me, investment firms that are calling me about wanting to fund projects for solar. And so you just know that all this money is leaving oil and it's going into renewable energy. And there's this transition that's happening right now. And, it just seems stupid. So, last thing real quick, I just want to say is that we need to run more Native candidates. We got to flip these Senate seats, these state Senate seats out in the rural areas. Before this election, I had everybody and their mother calling me about how to organize votes in Native country. And I gave them a bunch of information as much as I could. I just don't have the capacity to do a lot of these other things because I'm so busy with all this other stuff. But I just really believe that we got to run more Native candidates. So to run in these rural air districts, because we gotta flip the state Senate. If we just have to. It's important. So anyways, thank you everyone. I love all of you. Winona, I love you. and all of you, Nancy, Mary, you're the best. Thanks, guys. Dan, you were the man. Tim Sumner's my cousin, so I was brass that guy.
Awesome. So I'd like to go to Taysha next, but yeah, this has been a really, really good show. I'm going to go to, and I'm going to end up with Mary and Winona. So everybody else get ready, except for Mary and Winona. Relax. You guys will end the show. But Taysha, speak your truth, please. It was great to have you on again.
Yeah, I'm just really happy to be here. I always get like a little nervous. I think it was the last time I was on, I like opened the chat and like the first person I seen was Winona, and I was like, oh, because my bangs were like going this way and that way. It's Zoom is really fun. I have to stare at my own face. I really miss the COVID-free days of being able to like help motivate a crowd of people and just like really reach them. And I cry a lot. That's like a lot of the events I go to or like speak at, I'm like, I just like get very emotional because like this work that we're all doing is so emotionally driven. And I've just been like following all sorts of different forms of resistance online. And it's like Tara Huska is like, I tell myself that in the morning. I have like a whole mantra of like strong women in my life that I repeat their names to myself, and one of it is Roar Like Tara Huska. And Tara's been leading the GNU Collective on social media. I believe they're on Instagram, Facebook, everything. But GNU Collective, please look into GNU Collective and donate to their bail fund. There's a lot of brave water protectors who have been putting their bodies on the line to try and stop this pipeline in order for all future generations. So if you have the times and you have the funds, please dig deep and look into seeing what you can do and what you can donate. And there's so many different ways to get people involved. If I had the choice, I would make a frontliner out of each and every person who is watching this today, because there are so many different skill sets that you can bring to the front line. Like you can cook, come cook, whatever it is that you're good at and you're able to do, like we can find a place for you. So please, when the day comes and people like me and people like Winona are calling for aid, remember us, because we're not just, none of us who are doing this work woke up with the idea that we're going to save the world or stop climate change or stop a pipeline. All of us doing this work today, we're doing this work because we need to. Like the work that we do is tied so deeply on what it is that makes us who we are as Anishinaabe people. And that's just something you need to remember moving forward, especially our non-Indigenous allies. Like I always get people who like show up and they're like, oh, is that Standing Rock? And I'm like, okay. Like first, I think that's wonderful. I want to recognize all the amazing people who were at Standing Rock and had to live through the traumas of war, because that's exactly what it was. And I hate to be the person to be like, hey, get your boots on because I need you again. But she does, Mother Earth needs us again. And after Standing Rock, there was so much trauma and a lot of people who had not yet quite healed. And I know a lot of them were scared. And I seen a lot of it here at home on my reservation. Everyone stood for Standing Rock. Everyone. They were selling fried bread. They were selling shirts. They were doing everything they could. They were sending donations. The tribal chairman and like the RBC, they like danced into like the main camp with the like these beautiful, beautiful shirts that they made with like the Fond du Lac logo on it. And it was like water is life. And I've saved those pictures and I reshare them often. And I'm like, stop line 3, is water still life? And I've lost jobs because of it. Like I cannot find an actual job that will keep me. And I'm fine with that because I let that part of my life go to do the work that I do now. And that's because this is a promise I made to my children. I promised my children that I would stop line 3. And I promised the elders of my community that I would protect the sacred. And for me, that's not just a rallying call at a protest. That means something so on a cellular level. When I say protect the sacred, defend the sacred, I mean that. Like every time I see a missing flyer, that's me. That's my daughter. That's my mother. That's my sister. That's my auntie. when protect the sacred means so much more than just protesting a pipeline. And if you want to come and you want to help, there are so many different ways that we can attack this pipeline. There's so many tools in this giant toolbox of opposition that everyone everywhere can play a big part. Because it's not just like me and Winona can't stop this pipeline on our own. I kept praying Winona would, so I wouldn't have to get involved. No, but there's so many different people and ways that we need to do this. But we need to be working together in a good way. I got that from Jim. He always tells me that every time I'm talking. He'd be like, in a good way, in a good way. And it's like, I'm still working on what that means. I'm still learning how to do those things in a good way. And for me, and I say this often because a lot of people will they'll see me speak at an event or they'll see me on something like this. So they'll check me out on Facebook and then they'll just be like, oh my goodness. And it's yes, in no way am I I am not the woman that they paint across dream catchers that you will find in a gift shop in a casino. I'm not that peaceful Indian woman gathering berries in the woods. I'm angry, I'm radical, and this says, we're still here.
Pini Gigi, thank you so much. Yes, definitely. I'd love to go to Lyz for her final thoughts, and then to Dan, and then Nancy.
Oh, miigwech and miigwech Taysha again. When she speaks, she's speaking truth, and there's nothing that can face that in any way without recognizing that it is truth. And so, her story is the story of so many. And we are, having to work together and to make this just transition. And thank you, Winona, for giving those words, because that's what it is. And I am committed to do that work as a city councilor. As difficult as it might be, maybe it won't be so difficult. I think that, over half the city voted for me, and I haven't been real quiet about who I am or what my opinions are. So let's do it. We are engaged, we're engaging, and we will, continue to stand in this way as Anishinaabe Kwe, as Native people, and we'll get stronger as we use our voices. So miigwech for this opportunity to come here and speak. And I have my 14-year-old held captive here. He came in the room. I said, sit down and listen. So he's here listening, and he's going to ask me some questions afterwards, I'm sure, which is great. So
wow, that's awesome. That's really awesome. So I want to go to Dan. And again, thank you so much, everyone that's been on here, Dan. And then to Nancy. Speak your truth, Dan.
Thank you again, Mr. Pilot, and Emma, for the opportunity here this evening to let me come on. Mr. Bob Blake, I know you made a mention that everybody's blowing up his phone. You're supposed to say, hey, all the aunties are calling his phone, right? That's what we say in Native country. I'm going to call my aunties, make sure they're not calling you, man. No, I think in Native country, we have to have a sense of humor, too. I think when some of the stuff come up, when we got called something else, we're going to make humor of it. So it's always good to laugh here and there. And some of these other issues that we talk about, too, with the Line 3, we don't need it. We don't need Line 3. No, we wouldn't. When we talk about the pandemic, when that happened, everything shut down. The gas prices went down to maybe 99 cents in some spots. Nobody was buying fuel. Nobody needed fuel. It's all imported oil that goes down to other countries, shipped over. We don't need that. We don't need that. And I believe once that happened, there was a lot of imagery coming out that, hey, the earth is finally breathing from all these chemicals. So when we talk about climate justice, there it is right there. It's a clear fact that we don't need any of these pollutants we want to protect the future generations. We want to protect the ones that aren't born yet, that are coming up in these generations. We want to show them. We got a lot of rice beds in northern Minnesota. We got to protect those. We got to protect our livelihoods, because when we talk about our treaties, 1855, hey, This is all around us up north here. This is an 1855 treaty. You guys know what that means for like the city officials or the county officials that work with Native Americans? Do you guys know what that means? I know my Native American people know what that means, but to help them understand and work together and show them what the importance of the land means to us and our people, because this is generations and generations of the systemic failures from all of these working people. So we want to show them that we're still here. We want to show them that we have a voice and we're standing up, and this is a time. And I believe that everybody else here, that we have a good panel here tonight. When I look at Winona, everybody else that's from the East, and Audrey, Mary, Bob, everybody that's on here tonight, you guys are amazing people. You guys are doing the work as well by your voices. So keep up the good work, guys. And we will be here. We're going to be here, guys. Let's just keep supporting one another and keep up the good work. Let's keep this going. Let's keep this momentum going so we can show other people that this is possible. We can make changes. Here's how we do it. We're standing up today. So thank you guys for the platform tonight. I'm just so excited to be here and show people that we can make a change in our communities. We can make that difference. So miigwech for the opportunity tonight, guys.
Really, yeah, it's great. Everyone's clapping. I want to send it over to my sister Nancy, who co-hosts a radio show with me on Tuesdays. It was called Rock the Boat Native Style, but now it's Rock the Treaties Native Style. So on AM 950. And so Nancy, it's great to see you and always hear your great words, and Pinigigi for being on tonight.
Well, it's always an honor to hold space, especially having these good conversations and speaking our truths. And, a little earlier, I got sidetracked and forgot to tell you the good news about this Native Peoples campaign at MN 350. Well, there's important issues that are going to be under that tab or under that campaign. And it's like the treaty responsibility. Our treaty team is going to be our missing and murdered Indigenous women. And that's work with Misty and Gayatri, and that's growing and taking great leaps forward as well. We're going to have our Native voter education, Native into politics, because we're learning how to play that game. And I think we're learning how to play it pretty well. And then we're going to have our culture, understanding our culture, standing in with us, our frontline. A lot of our people, our Native people, they don't show up for meetings because that's kind of a colonized form of organizing. So we felt that at Minnesota 350, we had to create the Native Peoples campaign. So our Native relatives and those that want to stand in solidarity, we have that place to go and organize. And our goal is to be led by spiritual elders and people that know how to give those teachings that we need here in this movement. And we're also excited really quick, and I know we're really winding over time here, is we're also working on the nomination of Congresswoman Deb Haaland for the Interior of Secretary. I think I got that title right. It's such a big title, but that is overdue. And like Dan mentioned before, we need more representation. It's unfortunate that we have to run for an office that to be heard. The treaties, we should have designated seats at every table.
Nancy,
having to run for office, but so just over these next couple days, I'm going to talk to a couple of our people here in this audience to help us with that endorsement. And cool. We all know some of you guys are going to have to start strapping up your boots, because the front lines, we need to stop line 3. So just reach out to, stopline3.org. The Pipeline Resistance Team at Minnesota 350, GNU Collective, Rise Coalition. We got the Gitchigami Scouts. There's so many ways you guys can help. So it's now the time to start having those conversations with your family and friends and finding out ways you guys can support behind the scenes or on the front lines. We need everybody. So chi miigwech to everybody that made the time to listen and hold the space tonight. Because when we stand together, we don't stand alone.
Again, I got to get a T-shirt that says that and make that with Native Roots Radio on there. That's a great saying. Thank you so much, Nancy. Really, I want to go to House or State State Rep Mary Kunesh first, and then Winona to end us. Thank you so much. And we're not on a deadline, so you guys just take your time with your last words, and I appreciate everybody here.
Thanks, Robert, and thank you all that are here this evening to bring us up to date and get us energized and really jazzed up to continue this fight against line 3. I everything that anybody has said here this evening just makes so much sense. I just don't understand how it is that that they continue to have the ability to bring in their materials, create their man camps, and spread their wealth into the communities. You know that won't last. It's a little sprinkle here, a little sprinkle there of good good intent. When all is said and done, the workers are going to take the dollars from Minnesota and take them to wherever they want. Canada, doesn't want the pipelines anymore, and yet here in Minnesota we're allowing it. That doesn't make sense to me at all. So much of this does not make sense to me, and so I will continue to resist it at the state legislature. There are many of us that are willing to do that, and we will continue to do it. Just because we got elected to those seats doesn't always mean that we can get things done the way that we want to. But just know that we will be working hard, looking down every possibility to prevent this from eventually happening. And the thought that those lines would go through, like Winona's Black Snake tribute, just is really scary and hurtful, just really hurtful. I mean, literally, when I think of those lines going through Mother Earth, it just kind of makes me sick. And so I thank you all for fighting the good fights that you do, for standing up for our elders and our communities, and for the children and for the children of the future. And just know that I stand there in solidarity with all of you. So Wopalatanka.
Wow, Peeny Gigi. Before we get to Winona, what I want to say is give a shout out to Oglama Emma, who's running everything in the background here, as you see, and producing the show. And it's just so awesome to have Oglama do that. I want to go to Winona LaDuke, who I feel, everyone else has said it, but I don't know if I've said it tonight, but I just really feel honored to share this space with Winona. A true legend, and Peeny Gigi for being on, and you have the last word.
So kind, and everyone just happy to be with y'all. And just remember, I'm just on the home team with everybody else. I'm the home team, and being the home team means that we protect our water, and we say, hey, let's be sensible people. Why you want to build a pipeline of the pandemic, Tim? That don't make any sense. You already issued the permits, just give it a relax, and we'll look at it in the spring, after the court. But in the meantime, I keep saying, let's quit having stupid conversations. I was really minding my own beeswax over there growing hemp and looking at some solar panels, and all of a sudden I see they're trying to do this pipeline again. And I just have to say that, we got a lot better future for Minnesota. I don't want to be fighting over rocks and pipes 10 years from now either, because it's not just this pipeline or this mine. It's just bad ideas. I'm all ready for a better future where, we could drink the water and we could build all this solar energy. And, Exxon isn't even in the top 10 anymore. Enbridge doesn't even make the list. It's like Google and Amazon. Our world is changing, and some of these guys just didn't get the memo that the world's all changing, but we're all sitting here on Zoom. I mean, we're in a world where, it's a pandemic is a portal. A pandemic is a portal. Every time there is a pandemic, society has changed. This one is no different. It has brought our society to its knees, and the pandemic is not over. Let us be sensible, look out for future generations, build resilient systems, figure out how to do things locally, like make stuff in Minnesota, not in China. make that stuff here. Make a just transition. Use that opportunity, Tim. We're looking for some leadership. But, you know, we're not ashamed as Indigenous people to give a little direction because it's obvious that the state needs our help. So let's roll up our sleeves and make a multicultural democracy. How about that? How about we make something we could all be proud of? Wouldn't that be great? I'm ready. Home team here. Hey, thanks for the time. And just a pleasure to be with all of you because I'm ready for that new future that we're going to make.
Wow. Yeah. Pini Gigi at Winona. Yes. Everyone give Winona a hand. You know, I just got to say, we need to, yes. I want to thank everybody that's been on tonight. And I just want to end this like I end my, like how I end my show. We need to resist, divest, join a group, and run for office. You've been listening to We're Still Here, the Sunday Night Symposium. Good night, everybody.
If you like this program and you'd like to support Native Roots Radio, please go to our Patreon at patreon.com/Native Roots Radio Network. Miigwech.
Welcome to the Sunday Symposium. We're Still Here, presented by Native Roots Radio Network. This is a Native conversation of where we've been and where we're going.